Thank you everyone for joining us for the All-America City Award Promising Practices webinar series. This is our May edition of that series. And today we are collaborating with Zencity to talk about driving economic vitality through digital engagement. My name is Rebecca Trout, and I direct the National Civic League's All-America City Award, as well as our DC office. Just by way of a little bit of background for those of you who are less familiar with the League, we are a nonpartisan nonprofit that aims to advance civic engagement to create more equitable and thriving communities. We do this through a number of mechanisms. We have our research and publications. Some of you are familiar with the National Civic Review or the Model City Charter. We also have our Center for Democracy Innovation, and that is where we are researching and piloting democracy innovations throughout the country. And then our flagship program is the All-America City Award program, where we unearth and recognize promising practices of communities engaging their residents and stakeholders in creative and unique ways. So we recognize that through our award and then share those ideas out through this webinar series. Which is really what brings us here today and what has us focusing on the Zencity platform and driving economic vitality through digital engagement. So we have a great speaker lineup for you today. We will be hearing a little bit of an overview of the Zencity platform. Douglas Shantz will be our moderator as well as our Zencity guru, and then we will be hearing from two communities who have successfully used this platform and a little bit about what they've learned and how they're using it. So we'll hear from Bridget Granson and Sharon Mortensen from Midland, Michigan, and Mandy Kruger from Arlington, Washington. And before I hand it off to their capable hands, just a few housekeeping items. You'll notice that everyone is muted. We do that out of respect for the speakers, but we of course want this to be interactive. So we'll have a Q&A period at the very end. So you can add your questions into the chat as they come to you, or hold on to them at the end and we'll utilize that raise hand feature. We are also recording this webinar, so the recording as well as those slides will be sent to you under the email address you registered with either later today or the next day. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Douglas. Douglas?
Hi, everyone. My name is, as Rebecca said, I'm Douglas. I am from Zencity. My current role there is as a professional services consultant. I partner directly with our communities to help move them into the adoption phase of our product, while also supporting our team, our internal team, to make sure that we are aligned in terms of best practices. We're meeting what the market needs are, et cetera. And I come from a 10-year plus experience directly in the public sector, doing so. Most recently, spent 5 years as assistant to the manager and communications director in State College, Pennsylvania. Next slide. So really what the core of what Zencity started as and really what we're the building blocks of what we're doing is the belief that local governments keep our world running. There's no closer government to the people and more accessible to the people in terms of engagement, listening, et cetera, than local government. And that includes the impact that local governments can do in the day-to-day lives of residents without them even knowing. I know I'm preaching to the crowd here, but that's really at the core of why Zencity was built and where we continue to strive to go as well. Next slide. So right now, Zencity is really a strategic place in the market. We serve over 300 plus government organizations. This starts as a local level from small to mid-sized communities to large, Dallas, New York City, San Diego, et cetera. And again, we really build our platform to really help improve services, increase satisfaction, and build trust. And I'll explain a little bit here in the next couple slides on how we do that. So I know working in local government, engagement's not hard for those few people that know exactly how to engage and get a hold of everyone. I think we've all have those what we call the same 10 people, and that's what the STPs on this slide stands for. Those same 10 people in State College. We had Pat Vernon. He was always going to be there for a comment on a zoning rewrite, a comment on a new business that was going in downtown. If you named it, Pat Vernon was at a meeting and had a comment to do so. However, there is 43,000 other residents in State College. And so what we needed to do there is develop a way to listen beyond that. And that's really where the strength of Zencity comes in, is not only allowing you to reach beyond those same 10 people, but utilizing state-of-the-art technology to continually collect that engagement together, whether it's passive listening on social media, news feeds, et cetera, or active listening, going out, recruiting responses, getting a representative sample, or even hosting an engagement page where you're able to update those community members on a project and get that feedback. You can do a zoning rewrite, have your in-person engagement opportunities. However, childcare, maybe you're at work, not everyone's able to attend those workshops. However, their voice and the impact of something like a strategic plan, et cetera, really you need to bring in those different voices. And really what it at its core does is, by bringing in those additional voices, we believe helps really build and maintain that community trust, which you can't get anything done in local government if you don't have the trust to do so. If you don't trust that your garbage is going to be picked up, you're not going to make the efforts to get it down on the curb in time. Next slide. So really what it is a multifaceted platform that has a number of different modules, which makes it easier to gather that meaningful input. We have we have a number of different core products, which is our organic, which it does sentiment analysis through the use of AI and some other modelings that we have in there, that we filter in comments on social media, Nextdoor, news feeds, all those public available sources into a dashboard, and we filter in the information that's relevant for the organization that is utilizing it. So there are some pre-built filters that brings it in to make sure that information is relevant. You can set up project page, monitor things over time, and analyze that data over time. And the other way that we have, that's our passive listening, is our active listening, meaning that we have a number of different survey methodologies where we're actually able to utilize digital ad placements to get survey responses and really key in to make sure that we have representativeness on what the census breakdown is on your community, so that we make sure that we're hearing from a cross section of residents throughout the community, while we also have our Engage platform, which allows you to quickly get a survey up, running, and out, but also develop a comprehensive project page with timelines, videos, et cetera, so that you can educate, keep that centralized location, that one area of truth, so that people are more informed. And I know this as a communications director, the first thing that someone has and frustrations in these public meetings is they're going to come up and say, I didn't know about that. That's going to be the easiest, and that's going to be the thing that you hear the most. With the Engage platform, you really can help combat the oh, I'm just now learning about that, by actually having a centralized reference point to do so. And overall, it's about saving time and resources, and again, building that community trust around the community. I always like to think of you have a topic like traffic, an issue like traffic there. And there are different slices of that pie that you're going to get. Those that are commuting every day that are coming in, those that are discussing it on social media, those that are living in the community. They're all impacted by the traffic and may have different perspectives, or their perspectives may be aligned. But if you're only hearing from one little slice of that pie, the same 10 people, whenever you develop your capital improvement plan or other initiatives to help handle that one issue, you may not be considering every voice. And so then once it gets to that finish line, you're doing a council vote, or the news just publishes that you did a council vote on this, and that's whenever you lose the trust of your the community trust around these issues. And so really that's at the core of what Zencity does, is to really help you build trust, and again, do it in an efficient manner. So again, this is all done on, this is a SaaS model. So it's all done on one single platform, so that both your active and passive listening tools, all the data talks together. I know, working in local government, the one thing that is very difficult to get actionable takeaways from different data is getting it all into a centralized location. Usually that's a spreadsheet or a couple slides, putting it all together. It's a very manual. The nice thing about the one advantage with utilizing the Zencity platform is we provide this 360 listening of the community, both the active and passive listening, put all the data in one place, so that's easily analyzed, easily filtered, easily pulled, and that you're able to get those actionable takeaways and really help leverage the data. And without further ado, I really want to, I'm really excited to kick it off and have you all learn more from our friends over in Midland County.
Thanks, Doug. I'm Bridget Granston. I'm the County Administrator Controller here in the County of Midland. And we first began partnering with Zencity right, I don't know, maybe 6 months into the pandemic in 2020. A lot of local governments were using CARES Act money to find various ways to engage because we weren't doing business the same way we had been doing because of people being concerned about, being in physical presence with others. And just frankly, there were a lot of state requirements that said we couldn't be in the same rooms and in buildings together for a while. One of the things we really wanted to know was what were people in the community sharing as far as their perspectives of how the County of Midland was engaging, and in particular the public health department and decisions that were being made. And we did that through the core platform of the artificial intelligence, essentially searching formal and informal media sources, and then getting the data back on the projects, and then having the team at Zencity create an insight report for us. And Doug sort of mentioned informally, without calling it that, that the insight report was a nice summary of the feedback that we were getting from the public indirectly. As we continued into the following year, the need for us to find out more about public sentiment related to the pandemic and a couple other things, we maintained that need. Primarily, 3 months into the pandemic, Midland County had a historic flood and 2 dams that failed. So in the 2 days after Mother's Day, we actually had to evacuate almost 11,000 people. And of course, there was a desire from the county board at that time and a lot of local first responders and a lot of nonprofits that had helped with the recovery, and wanting to know, like, where were people at, right? A lot of people lost their homes. Fortunately, not one single person was hurt. And we consider ourselves very fortunate for that. But, Doug mentioned earlier that one of the things that's so important with residents and local government is that they trust you. And truthfully, we have a high level of trust here in Midland County with residents and the local units of government. And when we said, look, you have to evacuate, they listened. Like, if people had not listened to the first responders and local government, things could have turned out very differently. As we moved into that, as we moved through that process, we were really looking for sentiment about what was happening with the dam rebuild, the lake restoration, and people recovering from the tragedy. And at the same time, I'm part of a group in the community, a group of community leaders called the Community Success Panel, and a subcommittee of that leadership team had begun this process with the Baldridge Communities of Excellence framework and trying to fit what we do here in Midland into that. So when it came time to renew the county's partnership with Zencity, I posed to them, can we really use, I don't know if I want to continue this partnership at the moment unless I can make this a true community tool, because we want to get the most out of this. And for us to do that, it's just not the County of Midland that we need feedback on. It's what we're doing as a community and the direction of key areas that we want to impact that we need feedback on. So Zencity was all for it. And we started with a couple community ask surveys, the little 2-question surveys. And then we launched into the full community engagement survey. One of our first topics was broadband and internet connectivity. And then we started to utilize the framework of the Communities of Excellence and our steering committee to try and fill in the gaps of what we wanted feedback from the residents, what particular topics we wanted feedback on to help really inform what we were doing next. And so I'm going to turn it over to Sharon now, because she's going to give you a little bit more background on where we went from there.
All right. Well, thanks, Bridget, and thanks, Doug, for the background that you said as well. So I think one thing that's really helpful to look at is Zencity has become a tool in the context of this greater collaborative that we're doing in our community. So our community about 10 years ago, bringing many community stakeholders together, developed a vision statement. Midland County, an inclusive community, together forward, bold, an exceptional place where everyone thrives. And this is so caught on that we even have a mural in our community that some artists designed that have the words together forward, bold on it. So it's really become a rallying and a unifying statement that we use to describe our community. And then we've talked about how do we help our community achieve this vision. And it's really through focusing on 4 areas: building our livelihood, developing our talent, caring for our people, and enriching our community. And recognizing the importance of leadership as well to help bring about that community success. And I know today's title of this webinar is Driving Economic Impact. And I would say that what this has done, it drives economic impact, but it also drives connection, inclusion, and a sense of belonging in our community, which are really critically important. And if you go to the next slide here, this is just telling you a little bit about the structure we've used. So Bridget talked about the community success panel, and those are community leaders, including our mayor, our city manager, our county administrator, heads of our major corporations or representatives from them, individuals that had some of our larger nonprofit organizations. We meet monthly to talk about how can we drive our community forward to to enhance prosperity by gathering key stakeholders. And so the community success panel, as Bridget mentioned, we've done work through communities of excellence. And if you have not looked at that structure as a community, I highly encourage you to look at it. It is a collective impact approach that takes you through, and it's part of a nationwide learning collaborative, and I'll show you that in a minute, but it takes you through a series of things that you can do as a community to really bring your community together and to begin to get out of silos and to really work collaboratively together. And as part of this communities of excellence work, we need to be informed by the community as a whole, because it's one thing to have a group of community leaders together, but how do we make sure that we wrap our arms around all 84,000 people that live in this area and that we hear from them? And so we've used both Zencity and also another thing, Max Love's Midland Navigation Team, that I'll talk about. And Max Love's Midland Navigation Team came out of, what can we call this work that we're doing? Because communities of excellence doesn't exactly roll off the tip of the tongue. And so we said, what can we call this work that we're doing, trying to bring everybody together, get voices together? And so some of our friends came up with the term Max Loves Midland. So you'll see this Max Loves Midland design. We have a website, and we have this, we call it Navigation Team. And it's people from diverse backgrounds that come together quarterly around a specific topic to inform us, both to be informed, but also to inform us about what we need to know. So we've talked about things from mental health, housing shortages, we've talked about substance use disorder, and we're talking now about attracting and retaining talent in our community. So again, Zencity fits in this larger context of community work that's going on to help us reach our vision statement. The next slide here just shows you the communities across the country that are involved in communities of excellence, this nationwide learning collaborative. And again, encourage you, if you've not looked into it, to consider it. And they range from very tiny communities. The smallest, I think, is McCook, Nebraska. And then we have, like, San Diego is so large, they have 3 different communities of excellence groups going. You've got St. Louis with 2.8 million people. So it's all different sizes of communities around our country doing this. And on the next slide, again, this work we've branded Max Loves Midland as a way to get people seeing and coming together in our community. And I'll show you just on the next couple slides. And if you want to go to the Max Loves Midland website, you can do that. So this shows a website that we developed, and we thought, how can we first get community voices together and people listening? And again, Zencity helps to be a part of informing this. And that was through developing a countywide community calendar. Everyone said they wanted a community calendar, but nobody could quite figure out how to do it. So we now have this robust community calendar that people are starting to use. So that was a way to draw people in to the work that we're doing. But then also on the next one here, the next slide, you'll see that we have a connect tab. So there are a number of tabs, but a connect tab, because again, we're using And we're using Zencity information to understand our community and to work to connect people with one another in a variety of areas. So this is a piece of what we're doing. And then the next slide just shows, if you hit connect, here's some of the ways you can connect. And if you were to use any of these tabs, it connects you with, again, more groups. So we're using, Zencity is telling us, what are people thinking? What are they seeing? And one of the things that we were hearing is people wanted to connect with others. They don't always experience a sense of belonging or maybe inclusion in our community. So how could we address that through some of the things that we're doing here? So this is, and then the final slide is just reiterating here our community vision statement. But I think this helps you to see Zencity is a tool that works in this larger context of collective impact work that goes across our community beyond just Midland County as a unit of government, but to across the community, across organizations, across the lives of individuals, trying to pull them together, and Zencity helping to inform that. So when our community success panel, our community leaders meet on a monthly basis, as we have updates from Zencity, we'll share those with the group so they can see what's being talked about. What are people, what's up out there on social media? What do you need to be aware of? So if anything needs to be addressed by any individual organization or by us as a collective whole, we can do that.
Sharon, can I just add one thing? I think that
Absolutely.
you mentioning the reports that we get, the summary, executive summaries that we get after the community engagement survey, that we do share the results with the community success panel. One of the key takeaways that I think many members of the group are starting to appreciate are the benchmarking data that we have with communities that are similar to ours, and then also in the state, and then also across the country. And you know, we appreciate the flexibility that the Zencity team has when we want to not just have 3 rotating questions, but we want to add another question into the survey, into the community engagement survey, that helps inform us about our well-being initiatives and that belonging piece. And I think, you know, they've learned from us too. I don't know, Doug and Marta might agree. I think that they've learned from us, because these questions that we want to have really do the results really do speak to one's ability to thrive.
Thank you so much, Midland County team. I appreciate you all sharing how Zencity informs and is part of your overall community engagement efforts. We're now going to invite Mandy from Arlington, Washington, to discuss their experience with everything.
Hi there. My name is Mandy Kruger. I'm the Public Information Officer for the City of Arlington, and I also handle communications here. We started a project called, it's now been rebranded, called Meet Me in Arlington. But during COVID, we had an initiative, a Shop Local initiative that we created. And at the time that we created our Shop Local initiative, essentially it's an online marketplace. We were not a part of Zencity. We didn't actually sign up on board with Douglas until post-pandemic. And we found that Zencity has been very helpful for us in terms of narratives, public sentiment, and really, you know, connecting with our community in ways that we weren't able to before. You know, it takes a lot of time to scroll through Facebook comments and things like that. And so Zencity has really helped us in that regard, just feel better connected to the public. So with that said, I'm going to dive into our Meet Me in Arlington initiative. It is a destination themed marketplace, really created to enhance visitor and residential experience, and then just to increase local spending in Arlington. And so, like I said, before recently during the pandemic, the program was called Shop Local Arlington. And at the time, I was the executive director at the Chamber of Commerce. And the city of Arlington and I had partnered, and our chamber had partnered together to try to think of a creative way that we could really reach the business community. Again, if you remember, people weren't going into the stores. And so our mayor at the time had proposed this shop local idea. And so I said, let's do it. Let's create a website. Let's figure out how we can create a marketplace. I knew a little bit enough about WordPress. And so we dove into it. And at first, it was just an online marketplace where residents could go in and shop our local stores and learn about our restaurants. And also, there was a resource page. So it was very simplified. But now it's turned into a really sustainable campaign. So if you don't mind, Rebecca, could you just click on the marketplace for me, the link that says online marketplace, and I'll just show the viewers the website.
It's showing right now, is it? Are you not seeing that?
No. There we go. Okay. And Rebecca, could you just click on the Meet Me in Arlington logo at the top there? Thank you. Okay, so when viewers first go to the page, it's Shop Local Stille Valley. So we still tried to tie in the Shop Local idea. But again, since post-COVID, now that people are going into the stores, we really wanted to, talk about our events, talk about other things that visitors and then residents could be informed what's going on in Arlington. So if you go to the very top of the page, you'll see that we have some tabs that say Shop Local, gift guides, events, stay, play, eat, and we have different itineraries that you can do in Arlington. We won't go through all of this for the sake of time, but I do want to show you the marketplace. So if you are interested in shopping in Arlington, you can just kind of go ahead and see what we have out there in our stores and what we did initially to get users on the site. So these are all local businesses here in Arlington, as we really just were boots on the ground, like, hey, we've got this concept, we've got this idea, we want to get your products on a marketplace, we want to get people in your stores. We know, like during COVID, we know they're not going into your stores, but how can we help you elevate the shopper experience? How can we help your business thrive? How can we help you with marketing efforts? And so when it was just Shop Local, we just had this marketplace. It hasn't changed much, really. And if you you can click on any product, Rebecca, that you want to. Yeah, that's great. And so what's cool about the marketplace is they can do a buy now, they can follow the business on social, they could purchase this mug, and the city of Arlington, the chamber, all the partners involved in the project have nothing to do with the money. So it goes directly to the business's place of business, and they can make the purchase there. So that's been really great. Or of course, they can go into the store and make the purchase. So yeah, the marketplace has been really cool post-COVID too, because what we did was we partnered with a local influencer who has helped us sort of curate the product. She goes into the businesses, helps them place products, takes their pictures, things like that. So we've really tried to help them with like marketing efforts and how to be sustainable post-pandemic also. Okay, we can get out of the website now. Thank you. So during the project, during the beginning of the project, kind of creating it, we knew as a team that we needed to really build partnerships and who wanted to come alongside us with this. The chamber and the city just couldn't do all of it by ourselves. There was a lot of research involved. We connected with the Washington State University Center for Applied Research, and they really helped us learn how to make the program sustainable. And then, of course, once I post-pandemic started this job at the city, I was still on the chamber board. So the chamber is still obviously a big, huge partner of Meet Me in Arlington. And then, of course, our Downtown Business Association. We also decided, and this was again during pandemic, but it's since been really more of the piece that the businesses really like are the videos. So if you remember during the pandemic, really the only way to really communicate with folks sometimes was video. They weren't really you know, I mean, it was either online or video. Face to face just really wasn't happening as much as you'd like. And so we came up with this idea to partner with a local production company. Again, everything's local, everyone's local. And we create videos. We create videos seasonally based on, say, Easter, Christmas, the holidays, whatever. But then also just like, hey, if you want to shop, eat, stay, play, this is what you can do in Arlington. So I'll show you an example of this video. It's just a minute long. The music is a little cheesy, so sorry about that, but I'll kind of show you what our concept is here. Thank you, Rebecca.
Hi again, it's Mandy and Portia, hosts with Meet Me in Arlington, and we are so excited to show you some new and adventurous ideas to do right here in Arlington.
And we are here at Tomahawk Axe, located in Smoky Point. Let's go check it out.
Let's do it.
There's so many cool things to do in Arlington, whether you want to learn to fly a drone, try your hand at axe throwing,
or ride the Centennial Trail.
We hope this
Okay,
inspires
we can stop it now. Looks a little slow, but you guys kind of get the concept. When we did a ton of these videos, there was one challenge, however, is that once you do a video like this and push it out to community members and businesses, everybody wants to be involved. And so there was a lot of strategic thinking whenever we put out a video. And so, you know, we really do strive to make sure that we don't repeat content and that we're inclusive of everyone, but that is sometimes a challenge. So the other piece of the campaign is, of course, Portia, who you saw in the video, is a social media influencer. She's local to Arlington, and she's just really popular in the region, really, and she has a great following. I happened to connect with her and I said, we need some help getting this campaign off the ground, and can you help us? Can you utilize your audience? And she's great with marketing. So she was on board. And we used some funding there to help, pandemic funding there to help hire the production company and Portia. Anyway, so she manages the Meet Me in Arlington Instagram and Facebook site. We don't think we need to show the Facebook site, but I did want to show the Instagram. It's beautifully, she does a beautiful job with it. And our business owners really, and then this is all organic reach. There's no paid advertisement here. We don't do any paid, it's all organic. But she does a really beautiful job, and it's all, again, seasonal, very curated. We try to keep it personal. So just kind of wanted to show you the page. We don't have to click on really anything there, but just wanted to show you how we tie it all in together. And the Facebook page looks pretty similar. And we also will share not just products again, but events, what's happening in Arlington. Excuse me. So we have just different facets of sort of tying in the campaign together. Thank you. So one of the challenges, well, one of the great things about Zencity, and one of the challenges that we've had with Meet Me in Arlington campaign, and keeping it going, and council has a lot to do with that, right? Like keeping your project going, and so giving them a narrative that they can understand and that they can really connect with. Zencity has helped us with that. You can read analytics all day long and not know what they mean. You can say, I have 20,000 impressions. Well, what does that mean, right? And so I work in that sector, so I can dig deep in it. But a lot of times, someone who's not in communications and doesn't read analytics all day long, it could mean nothing to them. And also our business owners, they're like, okay, what's a reach? What's an impression? How do I know this is working for me? And so Zencity has helped us with that. With the narrative, the sentiments, it's really helped us make strategic decisions with the campaign. Yeah, and it's real-time feedback, which I really appreciate. And the data insights, steer towards, keeping the campaign sustainable. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, and this is just some marketing examples I wanted to show the audience of how we, kind of communicate with businesses and the community about what Meet Me in Arlington is all about. This is like a flyer, or I think something she must have put on Instagram, but we just kind of show how many users are on the site, how many products are on the site. The users have really quite increased. I think we have about 400 now and over 1,000 products on the site. And then the pictures that I posted to the next slide is, oh, sorry, go back one, sorry, to this slide is, you can see Portia and I, this is during pandemic when it was Shop Local Arlington. We had to put all these products outside. We had to talk about it. It was Christmas time. And we kind of did it like Good Morning America style, where we just went through each of the products and, here, come in and get these items. Well, now we're indoors, so that's nice. But during the holidays, we like to do that, or even just during different shopping seasons, we'll go through different products and kind of curate those to what makes sense. Okay, next slide. Another cool thing that we did with this campaign is I wanted to come up with an idea where businesses, there were a lot of home-based businesses on the site, and there were many service businesses also, and they just didn't feel like they were getting the attention that they needed. Well, we had a space that was empty in downtown Arlington, and we thought, well, why don't we just create a pop-up shop? Why don't we brand it Meet Me in Arlington, have this pop-up shop, they can rent it. It's really for new business owners who do not have retail. That has to be the rule. They don't have a retail space. Maybe they're in the farmer's market, or maybe they just, came up with this product. And so they'll come to the pop-up shop. It's available for them Wednesday through Sunday. It's really affordable. And it's been pretty successful. So we're really excited about it. In fact, the calendar's pretty much booked for summer. So that's really exciting. The city is not looking to make money off the pop-up. Again, it's very affordable for the business owner. And then also, then also what we did is I'd seen in other cities, and I'm not sure if Midland does, but, you have flags that will go downtown that will kind of say shop, eat, stay, play. Well, I thought we need that. Like, they need to be Meet Me in Arlington branded, and with the pop-up shop and the flags and the website, the marketplace, all of it, the videos, I really think that this will start resonating with businesses like, hey, Meet Me in Arlington, come shop, eat, stay, play here. So those are just an example, or the flags that we have up downtown. Okay, next slide. Testimonials. So again, testimonials are obviously very helpful. It's helped us, again, bring these testimonials to council, but then help us understand what's working and what's not working. And what I thought was really interesting was I could compare analytics from Zencity, and it really did help me kind of better create a narrative or a story. So I thought these were really helpful. Okay, and next slide. So you guys have asked us what practical applications we use. Again, everything I've just discussed, social media channels. We do blog content. So we have actually local residents who like to write blog, and then I go through and I make sure it's SEO friendly. And that has really helped, another organic way to make people feel connected. What I think is cool in Arlington, maybe somebody else has a different idea. And so it's been really helpful. We're a huge art town, and so we have some artists that wrote blog content and things like that. We're also a big trail town, and so those who know how to get outside and get out there and know all about the trails have written some blogs for us. So that's been cool. And then obviously user-generated content. We encourage visitors to share their social experiences. And testimonials, SEO and content marketing, heavy on SEO. and user-friendly. I have the site crawled through WordPress. I go through it myself and make sure it's SEO and strong there. And then, of course, data analytics, which we've talked about, and the reports from Zencity help us create those narratives to council. E-commerce, I showed you the site. That's a tool that we use for engagement. And then educational workshops. We partnered with the chamber and we host at City Hall, at council chambers, educational workshops. So if a business needs to learn about social media, how to better, reach their audience, or maybe they don't know how to use Instagram or Facebook, or maybe they want an accounting class. So we have just various different speakers that come in once a month. Our chamber is partnered with us on this project. And so we host workshops and tie it into the Meet Me in Arlington brand. And next slide. So what we learned to really listen to the needs of our business community. And that happened obviously during COVID, but to keep listening again. And so that's where the educational workshops came into play. And of course, keep the branding on par. And then we really, our mayor, previous mayor and current mayor and city administrator are really strategic about using funding that's available to us. None of the users on the site have to pay. It's all free and it's all paid for by ARPA funding. The site is free. I helped partner with someone and we created it ground up. So we don't pay anybody to, keep it going. We keep it going. We make sure the products are on there. We make sure the site's right. We go through WordPress once a week, make sure it's good. So it doesn't cost anything to the city. But we've really used the dollars that were available at the time pretty smartly, I believe. And then, of course, it's all about partnerships, as you all know, chambers, downtown business associations. We seeked assistance from SCORE, SBA in the beginning. And then, of course, Wazoo. Fostering inclusivity, that has been a huge challenge. Honestly, you could have a service business who's a painter and he wants to be on Meet Me in Arlington, and how can we get creative here? And so that has been a challenge that we are constantly working on. But I'm always open to suggestions and open to feature anybody who wants to be a part of the site as long as it fits. We also are an antique. We have a lot of antique dealers. And so that's really hard because they just have a product that's, an antique product, and they don't have really an online marketplace. And so we had to get creative, like, okay, if you can't buy that online, we need to make sure they can go in the store and buy it. And then you never know with revolving products, like it could be gone tomorrow. And so that is one challenge, is dealing with some of those shops. And then, of course, the testimonials we use to report to council for program support. But we really want to thank Zencity. I do personally. Doug has been huge help to this project. At the beginning, it was just all about, we had some intense events, not intense, but some events that drew a lot of public concern in Arlington. And so that was what was happening when we first joined Zencity. And then as all of that kind of ironed itself out and we got the assistance we needed, we started to learn Zencity, how to use, the platform. I thought to myself, wait, I have this other project. I really need help with analytics, Doug. I really need to, make sure that the people we hire are accountable, which our influencer is, but you always want to just make sure, right? Like they could be telling you, oh, I've got all of these analytics and I may not know. I love having another layer of accountability. It really is helpful. And now our council members get on Zencity and our mayor looks every week at Zencity. He knows what's going on. In fact, he was like, wow, there's a lot of Meet Me in Arlington, traction, good job, and you like to hear that when you really care about a campaign. And so thank you, Doug, for giving me the idea, like, let's link Meet Me in Arlington. You have all these social channels, let's do it. So it's been great. Thank you for letting me present.
Awesome. So really, with this next portion, I don't know, Rebecca, if it's okay if I just jump in here with the Q&A portion. Really, over the next, 10, 15 minutes, I want to open it up to I have some scripted questions, as we do with these panel discussions, but I want to hear from everyone in this space as well. If there's specific questions for the Midland County team or Mandy and the Arlington team from anyone here attending. Ooh, go ahead, Marcus.
So I guess my question is a little bit more broad based in terms of the data analytics. In terms of sentiment analysis, are you utilizing APIs to be able to get at some of the information, or is this like hand look searching and looking through things?
The one thing I really like about our platform is it's multi-use, meaning that I actually yes to both of those questions as the answer, which is odd. It's not an either or, but the main sentiment modeling that's coming in is utilizing AI to read comments, reactions, etc. And we're doing that by integrating RSS feeds, API feeds, anything that is publicly accessible that anyone from the private sector is already getting. We're getting those as well and helping leverage those for the public sector as well. However, nice thing that I always like to story whenever I call about sentiment is whenever I was in State College, I got handed the task as the communications director to field all the questions after the masking ordinance passed. And so, of course, that's a wide range of comments that are coming in directly to me. However, there was a lot of discussion online around that. You're seeing a lot of people that are saying, man, this council's stupid. Why would they ever do that? Or, hey, please put your mask on. Those are getting both marked as negative sentiment. So there is a little bit of hand analysis, and that's where Mandy was saying about the insights that are coming in, where our analysts will actually look at those and be able to contextualize what that negative sentiment is, instead of just saying like 47% is negative. So either or.
I have a question. Mandy, you alluded sort of towards at the end that you all had used this to kind of gauge public sentiment around sounds like maybe some turmoil in your community at the time. Can you speak a little bit more about that experience and how the platform specifically helped you to deal with that?
Yeah, sure. So we had an event here downtown that the first year the event was fine, peaceful, great. And just for some context, we're a small town. Most of our residents are very conservative. And so we wanted to have an inclusive event. We had a pride event, and the first year it was great. There really wasn't a lot of complaints, and it was wonderful. Then just this past year, that was not the case. And it was due to the content of the program. And so our mayor at the time was working really hard, with a bunch of different groups to try to calm the public down, so to speak. And the amount of comments that were on Facebook were daunting to read. And so it was really difficult for me and my supervisor, director, Sarah, to go through. And so we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to address the public and how to keep people calm and really how to communicate about the event. Zencity helped us with that. And the way that it is one, it was clear, because it's so much work going through social media comments. It's a lot. You not only do you have messaging coming in like through the messenger, but you have comments, you go on 300, frowny faces, like, you're not sure. And council and even, directors and city administrators, mayor, they want a story. They want to know how to fix a problem. And Zencity really helped us with that. Just being able to better analyze the data. The sentiments are pretty cool. I mean, it's mostly from my understanding, it's AI driven. But for a human being to be able to do that, it's daunting and almost nearly impossible. You can get an idea by just scrolling through with your eyes, and you can kind of, your brain has an idea, but if you want to dive deep, Zencity can help you do that. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. And Bridget and Sharon, this one is more for you all. You mentioned a little bit about how this is used in concert with sort of your other engagement efforts, and something that we at the league have been sort of navigating and instructing communities is that there is no sort of one silver bullet to engagement. It's not, it can't all be online, it can't all be virtual. You still need that in-person connection sometimes. And I think that I would just love to hear a little bit more, for you to speak a little bit more about how this has sort of been a value add to your other more traditional means of public engagement, and how it's made those more efficient or more inclusive to people who might not be able to include, have their voices heard in the more traditional methods.
I'll just, a quick response that is top of mind, Rebecca, is that, when we first started with the community engagement survey, one of the concerns or comments that our group had was, the first set of rotating questions were about internet connection. So if someone's lacking internet connection, how can we expect them to fill out an online survey? Right. So when I went back to the Zencity team and said, we know that you're doing your part to make sure that this is statistically representative of our census data, but we have a huge demographic of underserved and unserved people as far as internet connection. How are there other ways that you have that we can get to this? And they actually provided a paper survey for us that we could take to some of our nonprofit human service agencies and leave at the township offices in the more rural areas where people could fill them out. Now, I don't know how much, I can't recall how much participation we had with paper copies, but the Zencity teams was their responsibility at that point is, once we had those paper surveys, to send them to the team, and they would input them so that those voices were included that way. And I'll let Sharon speak to the other point that she made about the in-person connections with the Max Loves Midden group.
Yeah, and it is hard because it's like we need to do so many ways to reach so many different kinds of people in our community, right? Depending on age and other demographics, availability of internet connectivity. So just trying to offer a variety of things. And again, like these Max Loves Midland navigation teams, that has brought out really an interesting cross-section of people, all different ages. It's been very fascinating to see. But we know, again, as you mentioned, not everybody's going to come to an in-person thing. And we've tried to look at ways to remove barriers. We have someone that takes public transportation to come to that meeting every quarter. And so it's just been interesting to see. So again, I think it's one of, Zencity is a tool that works alongside other pieces that we do to try to reach out. And then honestly, the other thing is, often people that are at our community success panel represent large groups of constituents. And so how do they bring that? And I think that's a real important responsibility as constituents that you serve. How are you hearing from them, and how are you representing their voice as well if they're not able to be directly at the table? So I don't know if that totally answers the question or not there.
Thank you, very helpful. And I just want to lift up a question that was in the chat. Mandy, I think you answered via the chat, but if you wouldn't mind just sort of sharing that exchange so that those that aren't paying attention to the chat can be aware. The question was about the funding mechanism for Meet Me in Arlington, and what the community is planning on doing after that funding has lapsed.
Really, the fees are low now. Like in the initial, we used ARPA funding to get the campaign started, which, it's fully sustainable now. We use our communications departmental budget to pay for the social media influencer, to pay for the videos, and for low fee site maintenance. The WordPress site is very low to maintain. And so those are really only the fees involved now. And then of course it's boots on the ground, and, you can get kind of deeper, but that's what I'm paid to do, is help run the site. So
Great, thank you for that. All right, now if there, feel free to chime in either in the chat or verbally if you have any other questions. If not, I like to give presenters sort of a last parting thought to leave us with about your work, about the platform, about the topic, anything that you want to leave the audience with before we sign off here.
I'll start. I would just say that it's so important for us in local government to remember, and for people that are trying to have expectations of what local government does, to remember that we cannot do everything, and we certainly, can't do it the best by ourselves. We need to partner with other organizations, whether it's corporations or nonprofits or other local units of government, or just volunteers in the community who have a message that they want to convey, and be open to that. Right. Sometimes it's easy for us to be proprietary and kind of dig our heels in. It's like, I've been here 30 years. Okay. There's a lot of, I have a lot of history, and I say all the time, it seems like I learn something new every day. And just about the time I think I have something figured out, it changes. So, that's job security for me, which is good. But also I just think, we really need to be collaborative, and we don't have to agree on everything all the time, but we definitely need to be open.
And the other piece I would say to add to that is that we want those that live in our communities to feel accepted, included, and have a sense of belonging, to experience a sense of belonging. And to do that, we have to be really good listeners. And so any tool that we can use to improve our ability to listen to and to hear the voices of others will really help us.
Snaps all around. Well, I think that is a perfect place to close here. As I mentioned at the top of the webinar, we have recorded this, and we'll send you the recording as well as the slides to the email address that you registered with. We're also going to include Sharon, Bridget, and Mandy's contact information within that email. So if you have any direct questions that pop up as you're thinking about this later, feel free to reach out to them. And my heartfelt thanks to the three of you for joining us and sharing how you've used this platform, and to our friends at Zencity for joining us and helping us to put this together for our audience. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Friday. We do this webinar series every month. We typically focus on civic engagement, good governance, democracy, innovation. So if you like what you heard today, subscribe to our newsletter and check us out in the future. Thank you all so much.